Hello everyone, welcome to my RC channel. And this is the first video I'm doing for beginners. I just want to make a beginner tip video, just some hints on what you should buy. Just giving you a good idea of what you should buy before you get too into the hobby, or you just go in, you spend a bunch of money and you crash an airplane. That's not good. So I'm just gonna give you a couple tips here. Alright, this video is going to be about buying the right airplane to start with. Now, the airplane you want to start with, preferably a high wing trainer airplane. Now that could be a 4-channel aircraft or 3-channel. Now 3-channel is typically the rudder, the elevator, and the throttle. 4-channel has ailerons, which gives you your roll on the airplane. The rudder just does this for you, but it turns the plane and it works how it's supposed to. Now, one plane I would very highly recommend starting with, which I do not think you can buy on Horizon Hobby anymore, is the Hobby Zone Mini Super Cub. Now, mine is beat up. I have some different rubber bands on here. This is not the original wing. The original wing has flown with it so many times. I probably have over 100 flights on this little airplane because it's so much fun and it's so easy to fly. And even though I've gotten into the more advanced aircraft, this is still a very fun plane to fly. So when you're a beginner, 3 channels. You have your elevator, your rudder, which turns the plane for you, and the throttle. Real simple. If you crash it, you're definitely going to be able to fix this. It's a very fixable plane. I've crashed it so many times just from doing some crazy stunts. Really, you really just can't crash this plane unless you're doing some crazy stunts, because this plane handles so well in around 7-mile-an-hour winds and under. It handles great. It's got plenty of lift. It has its ACT, which is the anti-crash technology, which you get about 200 feet up in the air. It senses the horizon. If you go into a dive too steep, it'll pull you right back up, and it works great. But you can turn that off, and when you turn that off, it gives you high rates, so you have a little bit more control of the elevator and rudder. But this is a great plane to start with. I think you can buy it on Amazon still. I'm pretty sure you can't buy it on Horizon Hobby. I've looked for it. They've sold out. It's unfortunate because it's such a great beginner airplane. And there is another plane. It's the Champ. It's the Mini Champ. It's basically the same aircraft, except for it's a lot smaller, and of course a different color. It'd be definitely a good airplane to start with, but this is what I started with when I first got into the hobby, so it's highly recommended. Now, they also make another aircraft similar to this that's bigger than this. The wingspan, instead of, I believe this is about 32-inch wingspan. It's about a 47-inch wingspan. It's a lot bigger, but it's still very easy to fly. It's only 3 channels, rudder, elevator, and throttle. It's a great plane. Now, another thing you want to take in consideration is if you're first starting to fly, you're probably going to want to buy an RTF model. Now, RTF stands for ready to fly, and what that does is that gives you a battery, your charger, your transmitter, batteries, your plane, everything you need to start flying. And this is what this was an RTF model. And the controller that came with it was just your standard 27 megahertz transmitter. It's a very simple controller. This right here is your throttle. Now it doesn't stay put like more advanced or transmitters, the throttle will stay in place when you let go. But this aircraft doesn't do that. So I mean, it's kind of easier because when you push up, if you're going into a crash or something, if you're about to crash, you just let off. It'll let off the throttle because that's something you definitely want to do if you're about to crash. It's got its trim buttons, you know. It's got the light, and if you click this right here, it throws it into high rates, turns off the anti-crash technology, and gives you a little more control over the airplane. It's a lot of fun. Great airplane to start with. But if you're wanting to get into the hobby more and you plan on buying more airplanes such as Bynum Flies, which are highly recommended because they're cheaper, they're amazing. I have a controller that it's just real simple. It's the cheapest Spektrum transmitter you can buy. It's the DX5E, 5 channels. It's got your throttle, your rudder, your elevator, and your ailerons. Of course, if you buy the Bynum Fly Hobby Zone Super Cub, the big one, this is your rudder and elevator, and this doesn't do anything except your throttle. Also, it's good for mini airplanes. It's just fun. It's got your high and low rate switch, so it gives you less control over the aircraft or more control. And it's just excellent getting into the hobby. It's affordable. It's a great controller. I've had it for over a year, and I control most of my aircraft with it. It's just real fun. Now, if you're wanting to get into a more advanced airplane to first start out, such as a 4-channel trainer, high wing trainer, which lots of people do. They skip the 3-channel and go to the 4-channel trainer, and I don't know, it might be a good idea. That's not what I did though, but here's one of my airplanes I bought. Now this is the Fly Zone Super Cub Select Scale. It's a scale airplane, but it was great for training me for 4 channels because it's got a big wing, so it rolls very slowly. You know, now this, since it's 4-channel, has ailerons, elevator, rudder, and throttle. And it's just a fun airplane. Now there's also the E-Flite Apprentice, which is also apparently a good plane. I never got to fly it, unfortunately. But yeah, basically any 4-channel high wing trainer is good. You just want to make sure you have the right receiver. Or, transmitter. Now, because this plane here is a Fly Zone, I can't use this unless I have a Spektrum, let's say an AR400. It's a very simple, basic aircraft receiver, and I combine this with that receiver, and it'll fly. Now, I have a Tactic RC controller, which goes good with these Fly Zone aircraft. And these Fly Zone airplanes are good to start off with. They have many trainers, and they're awesome. So yeah, that's pretty much the basic tips. Like I said, RTF has everything you need to start flying, so I highly recommend a 3-channel aircraft to start out with. They're lots of fun. They're simple. You crash them, you fix them. Excuse my cat. One time when I was flying this plane does not fly well inverted at all. So with a high-channel plane, or a high-wing trainer plane, I don't recommend flying inverted because you're probably going to crash. I crashed this into the ground. The tail completely snapped off. I came back home from my field right across the road. I came back over home, heated up the hot glue gun, and heating up the hot glue gun took longer than actually fixing the plane. It took me about 2 to 3 minutes to put the whole tail back on and back together, and I was over there flying within 10 minutes. So they're easy to fix, lots of fun. And yeah, that is pretty much it for buying a plane for a beginner. So yeah, thanks for watching.